Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Look at this glorious day. Look at it, sun shining bright. It's absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful day. I hope it's as wonderful where you are. Welcome to the channel. Welcome and thank you for joining me this wonderful morning. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a talk about a subject close to my heart, which is food. For those of you who don't know, if you haven't seen my earlier videos, go back and have a look, where I introduce myself and tell you, my hair's looking a bit funny today, where I introduce myself and tell you what I do. I've been a chef for 33 years, so you know the subject that I've been involved with for most of my life has been food. So that's today's subject, is food. Where does our food come from? Is it what it was? And what can we do to improve our vitamins and nutrients that we get from our food? Let's put it that way. So we've all heard the saying, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food, I'm sure. But is that the case anymore? Is our food providing us with all the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that we need? And if it's not, why isn't it? So as I say, I've been involved in the food industry for 30 odd years, 33 years now, and it's been a love-hate relationship. The industry is wasteful, to say the very least, and the problem with the industry is because the margins are so tight that generally you end up using let's say the cheap cuts or the cheapest ingredients you can possibly get that aren't always the best, to make the most profit, because as I say, it is such a tight margin industry. Getting into, I would never go into owning a restaurant, even though I run other people's and I make them money. It's just such a tight margin. It's just not worth the business. Not the business that's worthwhile spending a lot of money on, and you need to, especially nowadays. It's crazy. I mean, you know, you can't operate a restaurant nowadays in this environment because of the nonsense social distancing and garbage rules that are in place. While we're on that subject, actually, you know, I still work in a restaurant, have done for a long time, and this nonsense, this utter complete bullshit that you can walk into a restaurant with a mask on, or you have to here in the UK with a mask on, because the virus is so deadly, and as soon as you sit down you can take that mask off. I mean, really, what's it going to take for people to go, hang on a fucking minute, this isn't right, there's something not right here? But I suppose we'll just have to wait for that day when people can wake up and realise the utter tripe that we're being fed, and the fact that restaurants and bars are being royally shafted by the governments around the world. It's not just here in the UK. I know in America they are. Not so much Australia, but your turn's coming in the winter time, believe me. So something strikes me, you know, is what I've noticed a big increase in, especially over the last sort of 5 to 10 years, is allergies. People have so many allergies nowadays, and you know, here, sorry, bit of a hill there. I'm out of shape. Too much sitting on my ass with this COVID nonsense. But here in the UK, there's 14 allergens that we have to be able to list in our food. So we have to know every ingredient, and there's 14 allergens that we have to be able to list for all of the people who are eating our food. Or if somebody gets sick, we personally, the chef and the business, can be sued. Okay, so there's been many cases where I know there was a case in London not long ago where someone who had a severe soy allergy, I think, and we bought something from a shop where soy wasn't listed as an, no, it was what was it? Sesame seeds. I had a sesame allergy, and a sesame oil on the salad, I think it was, and lady died, unfortunately, and that shop was sued. So, reason I bring this up more and more now, allergens are playing a massive part in food, and what we can do and what we have to list. Now, there's 14 allergens that we have to list in all of our food: gluten, fish, mollusks, sesame seeds or sesame, nuts, tree nuts, there's like sulfites, those kind of things. So there's 14 allergens that we have to be able to list, and if somebody gets sick, we are liable. Now, I raise this point because I want you to test it out for yourself. I don't want you to believe me, because no one does, and I'm just some dude on the internet, so please don't believe me. Go and test it out for yourself. Go and ask your GP next time you're at your GP if he knows all the ingredients in the immunisations he's going to give to you or your children, and how they will affect you. I'll guarantee he doesn't. I'll bet everything I own that he doesn't know the ingredients of the immunisations that he's going to give you, and he's not. The vaccine manufacturer is not. No one is liable should you be injured from that vaccine. But yet, if I sell a piece of food that's been cross-contaminated accidentally with a nut, I can be sued as a chef. And I don't have to go to school for, 10 years to become a chef. Doctors have to go to school for 10 years or longer to be a doctor, because it's life and death, apparently. But not for chefs. But yet me and the business I work for can be sued if somebody has an allergic reaction to a piece of food that I've prepared. But doctors and the vaccine manufacturers are not liable for their product. Okay? So test it for yourself. Don't believe me. Go out and find out for yourself. Now, why is it that, people have been eating wheat for 5,000 years in bread, but now everyone's allergic to it? Why is that, do you think? Well, it's there's lots of different reasons. Genetically modified organisms, genetically modified products, especially in wheat. A lot of the wheat nowadays has been genetically modified to be resistant to something called glyphosate, I think it is. So it's glyphosate is a weed killer. So if you spray that around your wheat field, you're not going to have any other weeds growing in your wheat field. You have a better crop. You get a better yield on your crop, which is all well and good, except that in the wheat and the flour that's produced from it and the bread, you have residue left of the glyphosate that's causing people problems with their gut. Now, everyone likes to think it's the gluten is the problem. Well, it's part of the problem, which we'll get back to in just a second. But the bigger part is the glyphosate residue that's left in it, that's giving people problems with their gut and digestion, trying to digest the bread. Also, we're using new varietals of wheat, so a much better yield, much bigger yield in the wheat with these new varietals. And obviously, as I say, they're genetically modified to be resistant to glyphosate, Roundup. Roundup has been sued, by the way. Monsanto was sued for their product, glyphosate, and lost and had to pay out damages. It causes cancer, but yet that's still being sprayed all over our food. And by the way, half the world's population, 1 in 2 now, is projected to get cancer at some point during their life. 1 in 2. Why is that? Why is that? That we're told constantly, it's just genetic abnormalities that's been passed down from your parents. Well, no, that's not the case. Our food has been poisoned systematically. So is our air. So is our water. Now, we're focusing just on the food today, but glyphosate is just one of many. The way that our food has been poisoned, the way that we raise our animal products, and our food production. It's just wasteful. Half of all the food that gets produced in the world right now is going in the bin. Half. A third of all the grains that are produced in the world right now goes to feed animals. Now, if we're going to go down the animal route, the way that factory farming is done, bulk factory farming in sheds where the animals don't have a life, is disgusting, and it should be ended immediately. We at home, we try to use organic food for multiple reasons. I urge you to look into organic food yourself. If you're going to eat meat, eat organic. Outdoor reared, properly raised organic meat. If you're going to eat it, it is much more expensive because the organic certification is an expensive process to go through. I've read many articles about organic food and how it's got no different nutritional content than ordinary food, and probably that's correct. That's a controversial thing to say, but it's probably correct, because we are so far removed, you and I, the end consumer, is so far removed from our food supply that we have food travelling from all over the world, which is a wonderful thing. But the problem being is that our food is picked from the tree, the bush, the vine, the tree, before it's ready. It doesn't get to ripen on the tree, so it doesn't have the same nutritional content that it used to when we were so much closer to our food supply. You know, we would go to our local farmers market, or we'd go, eat locally produced food. But now the world is different. We have food shipped from all over the world. I mean, here in the UK, we have avocado shipped from other places in the world because we can't grow them here, which is cool. But the problem is that the time that it takes to ship those products from different countries that do grow them, like Mexico and places around the equator, by the time they're shipped to places like the UK, they would be overripe if they were picked when they were ripe. So yes, probably the nutritional content of the food that we eat is not as much as it used to be, purely because our food isn't being grown locally, or not as much as it used to be, or we're not purchasing the things that are grown locally. Also, our meat products and our vegetables are force grown. Our meat products are, they're fed vast amounts of soy. Now, I've read some research on that. Soy causes an estrogen spike in men. It's not something you want, gentlemen, unless you want moobs. And, that might be up your street. If you're into that kind of thing and you want some moobs, then please go ahead and drink all the estrogen you want. Have some soy lattes, and I think you'll be in a pretty good spot. But, the food that we've been told all of our lives, our food pyramid that we're supposed to eat. And I've had many discussions with my wife about this subject, because the way that we're producing our food, what positive effect are we getting from it if our meat especially is treated poorly in farming and then in the slaughterhouse? Are we taking on that negative energy from the food? But I suppose it comes back to the argument, and this is the argument I keep on raising. The argument has to be, where did we come from? You and me as people. Did we evolve from monkeys, like science tells us, where we were monkeys and we evolved along the way? Now, if that's the case, then the evolutionary process is the theory. The aquatic monkeys, that monkeys that lived near the coast ate more fish, hence more protein, had bigger brains, got smarter, started to use tools, and evolved into humans. That's the working theory, the working model of evolution from monkeys to people. So if you believe that, then we need to eat a diet high in protein, meat products. Veganism, yes, you can get protein from many other sources. I'm not going to knock veganism, because if you want to be a vegan, bully for you. Great. If you think that works for you, then who am I to say? But we're being criticised for wanting to eat meat. I mean, I've eaten meat my whole life. I mean, I eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruit, but I eat meat as well. But we're being told that this is the wrong thing to do. But I alluded to, and I've spoken about in another video I did about climate change. Obviously, I haven't seen that one. Go and have a look. Climate crisis, where there's been multiple amounts of research that's been produced around the world. The Welsh government actually has on their website, where they used cows and farmyard animals to lock in carbon into the soil through grass, through spelling fields. Sort of going back to old ways of farming rather than these new high yield farming techniques. That's great for the money for the farmers, but at the same time our food supply is suffering because of it. So these farmers have done experiments where they could trap more carbon into the soil through grass, through spelling fields, using their farmyard animals. So the argument that we shouldn't be eating meat because it produces methane through the cow farts, it actually offsets if it's done properly. So we need to change our farming practices, how we do things. We have technology now, which means that we can grow food inside unused factories. We have unused factories and unused warehouses around the UK, and I'm sure that wherever you are in the world, doesn't matter where you are, I'm sure the unused factories and warehouses where you live too. Why aren't we doing vertical farming in these warehouses? You know, you could easily grow lettuce and herbs and things like that inside these warehouses, vertical farms. You know, we have the technology to greatly improve how we farm, what we farm, where we farm, and using technology and our understanding of companion planting and planting by the moon cycles, which is biodynamics, and organic, so we can produce our food to be really high in nutrients and vitamins and all the things that we need in our diet, without having to ruin all the land that we wanted to live on as well. But it's not being implemented, and it comes back to the same people who write the laws, stifling the use of real world farming techniques, let's put it that way, real world farming techniques to improve our food supply. Instead, they're focusing and making laws to allow companies like Monsanto to produce these chemicals and these Franken seeds. You know, there has been no long-term testing on people to see what the result will be, and there's been multiple experiments done with mice where they're found to have multiple tumours after consuming GMO corn. We're being legislated into a corner with the way that we produce our food, and in the meantime, half the world is obese. They're overweight, and the other half of the world is starving. So this is what we're up against. The end user, the consumer. That we're up against these politicians who have created an environment where massive corporations, like right now with the lockdown, massive corporations like big shopping centre chains, Costco and Tesco here in the UK, and big shops, supermarkets can open and have hundreds of people in their store, and small businesses can't. The small corner deli, the little newspaper shop, they can't open the door. It's illegal, but the big massive corporations are benefiting, and small restaurants, bars. So what's happening now? I mean, there are multiple threads of attack happening on us daily. We're telling us what we should do, what we should be doing, how we should be behaving, and not really addressing any of the fundamental issues of what ails us in this world. We're living in turbulent times, and as I've said many times on this channel, in the end, it's down to us to make a decision about how we want to live, how we want to be governed, how we want what freedoms we want to enjoy in our life, and we should have the freedom to make our own decisions about how we live. But we don't. But we do have a choice in what we buy, how we shop, where we shop, and the kind of products that we're going to put inside us. Now, I will be, as a 30-year veteran in the kitchens, there's plenty of chefs out there who are much better chefs than I am, much better. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I'm the best, because I'm not. I've had a very fortunate career where I've traveled the world and cooked in some amazing places with some amazing chefs, for some amazing chefs. I've cooked for royalty. I've cooked for Hollywood royalty. It's been a pretty cool ride. But the reason I tell you all this is because I'm going to be doing another YouTube channel in the coming sort of 3 to 6 months, I would think, that teaches people the basic skills of cookery, demystifies the whole process, makes it really, really simple. How to cook a meal from start to finish, using all the hints, tips, shortcuts I've learned over 30 years. I'm going to condense it all into one show and teach everyone how to cook from scratch, rather than using all this garbage microwave bullshit food that everyone's using nowadays. It's all pre-prepared shit. We got to get back in touch with our food. And that's, it might sound like a scary prospect, and oh geez, I'm going to be spending hours cooking. It's not the case. You don't have to spend a lot of time, you don't have to spend a lot of money cooking. Just buy good ingredients, and I can show you the rest once the other YouTube channel gets operational. And as usual, I will never charge for the information I'm presenting. I'm not going to have a Patreon account. I'm not looking for money from anybody. This isn't what this channel's about. It's not what anything that I do is about. I'm not looking for money from everyone else. I've invested my money, and I'll use that as those investments when they prosper, which is in the near future. If you're involved in things like XRP, but we've got to get back in touch with our food. It's the most important thing we can do, and I will be helping everybody to go down that route. But you can also do some things yourself. I mean, I have a backyard. I'm growing some fruit and veg constantly in our yard. We don't have a big yard, but we've got a couple of raised beds. If you might live in a flat, you can grow some things on a windowsill. Just grow some tomatoes or some herbs or something. Get back in touch with your food, because relying at outsourcing what we do, what we eat, and what comes onto our plate, what comes into our house, and if we outsource that to somebody else, and just to make it easy so we can spend some more time in front of the TV, I mean, it's not benefiting anybody, not benefiting our wallets, not benefiting our health, and it's certainly not teaching our children, the best way to live. So keep an eye out. I will be sort of keep you updated on new things that are happening. As I've said before, I wanted to do these videos every day, but I just don't have time. But the upload times are exorbitant. This video is 20 minutes now, and it'll probably take about 5 hours to upload. So it's ridiculous. So I'll do this video as often as I can, and I'll be updating you all with new things that happen. There are some amazing things happening in the world right now. So don't panic. But get prepared. I said in my last video, get prepared. Have some water, have some torches, maybe some candles around the house, a little bit of extra food. If you need to, get some tinned food. And if you know any suppliers of local fruit and veg, stay in contact with them, because if things do shut down, then at least you've got some fresh fruit and vegetables available to look after you and your family. All right. That's it for today, I think. I don't want to go on anymore. I've taken a lot of your time. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. It's great as I go for these walks and talks through the forest or through the fields in this beautiful place where I live, and a wonderful day again in December out in a t-shirt. It's wonderful. All right, I hope you're all well. Have a wonderful day. Look out for what you're eating. It's what you put inside you becomes you. So it's time to make decisions about who you want to be and what you're putting inside you. All right, take care of yourselves. Look after each other. Love you lots. I look forward to seeing you real soon. Take care. Bye.